Declare this meeting open, please. Call this meeting to order. The regular meeting of the Coralville City Council, February 11th, 2020, with roll call.
Councilmember Foster.
Present.
Gross. Here. Gill.
Present.
Dodds.
Present.
Goodrich.
Here.
All council members are present, as is the mayor and city clerk, city administrator, city attorney, and several city staff in the audience. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Gill, seconded by
Second.
Gross. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving right along, we have one proclamation this evening, and it's Iowa Honeybee Day. It's a pleasure to read. City of Coralville Proclamation. Whereas honeybees and native insects are important as pollinators for a third of the food we eat, and honeybees are vital in production of over 90 crops grown across the nation, many of which are in Iowa. Honeybees contribute to a healthy Iowa environment by assuring availability of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and flowers for wildlife and all Iowans. And whereas Iowa's 45,000 or more honeybees hives produce about 4 million pounds of honey, valued at over $8 million. And honeybees provide an estimated $92 million in economic value to Iowa crops from their pollination. Whereas Iowa has over 4,500 beekeepers representing hobbyists, sideliners as part of part-time business, and full-time commercial beekeepers. Hobby beekeepers have as few as one hive to commercial operations with thousands of hives. And whereas traditionally beekeeping occurred in rural areas of Iowa, now beekeeping increasingly occurs in urban areas with the rising interest of hobby beekeepers keeping beehives in Iowa cities and towns. And whereas the state of Iowa has an active apiary inspection program to protect honeybees and beekeepers from introduction and spread of apiary diseases and pests. And whereas honeybees face serious threats from invasive pests, decreasing bee-friendly forage, variable climate, and increasing pesticide and herbicide pressure. Now, therefore, I, John A. Lundell.
Web for herbicide pressure.
Sorry. Wrong thing.
Let's start this again here.
We're looking up about bees. I want to know. Siri heard you.
Okay. Now, therefore, I, John A. Lundell, Mayor of the City of Coralville, Iowa, do hereby proclaim February 13th, 2020, to be Iowa Honeybee Day, and encourage all citizens, residents, and visitors to join in observing this day and focusing on the importance of honeybees in our state economy, to enjoy the honey and other products of honeybees, in recognizing the honeybees' role in maintaining our Iowa environment, and to assist in reducing the threats to honeybee survival in our state. Signed this 11th day of February 2020, John A. Lundell, Mayor. We have Ed St. John with the Iowa Honeybee Producers Association in the audience. And Ed, would you like to come up and receive this? This is not Ed's first time here. So, yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Yeah. Like to say a few words, please?
Yes, I would.
Yep.
First, I'd like to thank the council and the mayor for the proclamation. It mirrors the proclamation that Governor Reynolds signed a couple weeks ago, declaring February 13th as the state's Honeybee Day. You're joining other cities such as North Liberty, Iowa City, in my district, Marshalltown, Charles City, Waterloo, with similar proclamations. Johnson County, Worth County, see who else, Bremer, and Mitchell counties have also had similar proclamations. Insect pollinators are in trouble in Iowa, and that's not just the honeybee, but the honeybee is more of like a canary in the coal mine. As you mentioned, in our food chain, they're responsible for somewhere between a third and two-thirds of our food for pollination. In Iowa, the last 2 years, 65% of all hives died. In other words, 6.5 out of every 10 hives died annually each year over the last 2 years. The national average has been about 45%. And these are unsustainable levels. In the 70s and 80s, it was about 20%, and that was considered a bad year. So things have changed. We have about 2.5 million hives in the United States, honeybee hives. Each year, this may surprise some of you, 2 million of those hives are on semi-trucks most of the time. And they go out to California to pollinate the almonds. They go up to Washington. In fact, our whole food cycle is dependent on these honeybee hives on semi-trucks traveling around the United States pollinating our crops. Without them, we would be like the Chinese. We'd have people on step ladders with paintbrushes going from flower to flower. So your support of Honeybee Day demonstrates your commitment and understanding that honeybees are important to our food cycle and also to our environment. So for that, I thank you, the association, Honeybee Association, Iowa Honey Producers Association thanks you, and hobbyists and beekeepers thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ed. It's a pleasure to do it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item number 5 is citizen comments. This is the time for anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to us tonight about an item that's not on the agenda. Is there anyone that would like to speak to us tonight? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on then to the Bluffs at Brown Deer. Item A is a public hearing on a resolution of intent to dispose of interest in real property, that property being lots 1 and 2 of the Bluffs at Brown Deer. And this would be for disposal of these 2 pieces of property near the Brown Deer Golf Facility to the Watts Development Group for $260,000 plus an additional $75,000 to connect the sanitary sewer to the development through the Brown Deer Golf Club. So I will open the public hearing. Are there any comments on this project? Any written?
No written.
Okay. Close the public hearing and consider the resolution.
Resolution approving disposal of certain real property, that property being lots 1 and 2, the Bluffs at Brown Deer, Coralville, Iowa, being introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gill. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross. Aye. Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 7 is the 4th Avenue Sanitary Sewer 2019 project. This will reduce inflow and infiltration of the 4th Avenue Sanitary Sewer System. First, item A is a public hearing on the plan, specs, and estimate of cost and form of contract for this project. I'll open the public hearing. Are there any comments? Any written?
No written.
Okay. I'll close the public hearing, and we'll do the resolution, and I'll get back to you. Consider the resolution.
Resolution approving the plans, specifications, estimate of cost, and form of contract for the 4th Avenue Sanitary Sewer, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gross, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion. Dan Holderness, our city engineer, is here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to introduce Ryan Foley. He's our design technician in the engineering department for the city, and he will be the manager of this project from the city's perspective. We also have Lauren O'Neill in the audience from Howard R. Green Company, who is the consulting engineer in the project, and Ryan will tell you a little bit about the project.
So a brief description of the project would be, this project is located on 4th Avenue in between 2nd Street, more commonly known as Highway 6, and 5th Street. And it will install a new lining on a portion of the sanitary sewer that's on that stretch, which is just an encasement that relines the existing pipe. And then on another portion further south, we will remove and replace with new pipe for the sanitary sewer. And the purpose of this is to eliminate excess stormwater from infiltrating the wastewater pipes and then having to be treated at the wastewater plant, which is costly. The engineer's estimate from Howard R. Green is $173,690.
Is there any particular reason this section is in this need of attention?
I guess I don't know the history on it as well. It was
Is it
something
related
that
to the flooding,
was,
I thought, or?
yeah.
Yeah, actually, this is, if you remember back in the 93 and 08 floods, this area got flooded very badly. And so after the 08 floods, all the buildings that were there were removed and the area was raised and new buildings like the villas on 4th were built there. So the suspicion is that the sewer line is old, it's deep, and potentially not all of the Y connections from the old buildings to the sewer line were properly abandoned when the new buildings were built. So we have a suspicion it's been smoke tested, and so we have a knowledge that there's a lot of I&I in this section of sewer, and so it's very cost effective for us to remove and replace that at this point in time. And so as Ryan said, so we can get the infiltration out of there and have less clear water to treat at the wastewater plant.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Thanks, guys. Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item number 8 is consider a resolution setting a date for a public hearing on the maximum levy for the fiscal year 2021 budget. Our finance director, Tony Rotland, is approaching the microphone, and I'll let you go first, and then we'll do the resolution. How about that?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a notice and proceedings to set the hearing for the next council meeting. It is a new hearing, additional hearing in the budgeting process for cities and counties that was instituted by the legislation last year. And it has to do with the portion of the budget, specifically the property tax levy. And so if you have any questions as you go along, let me know.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. Resolution, Don.
Resolution setting a public hearing date on the total maximum property tax dollars for fiscal year 2021, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Gill, seconded by.
Second.
Ooh, stereo. We'll give it to Foster tonight. I'll just mention that this public hearing is 2 weeks from tonight, February 25th. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Gill.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Thank you, Tony. Item 9 is Iowa River Landing. This is an amendment to an agreement we have with the University of Iowa Community Medical Services that will allow them to expand their existing UI Sleep Solutions facility there.
Resolution approving amendment number 1 to the Iowa River Landing lease agreement with University of Iowa Community Medical Services, LLC, DBA UI Sleep Solutions, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Dodd, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Goodrich. Discussion?
Yeah, the rent on this will go from around $4,000 to $7,500, and then in July and $7,700 for the next 2 years. Then, after that,
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Roll call.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Gill. Dodds.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item B is a resolution that approves a license agreement with Funky Zebra. This is for a 1-year agreement beginning March 1st, 2020, and I believe it's in the former location of Lululemon before they moved down the block. My only comment is, Funky Zebra sounds like a place that I wish had been open before last Saturday night's event at the Marriott. Could have gotten some dress there, maybe. So, Don?
Resolution approving a license agreement with MVCD Enterprises, LLC, DBA Funky Zebra, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Goodrich, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Foster. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross. Gill. Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Resolution passes all ayes. Item 10 is Coral Ridge Avenue Improvements Phase 2. This is a resolution that fixes the amount to be assessed to adjoining property in the amount of $393,679 for the Coral Ridge Avenue Improvements Phase 2. I'll just mention that this is the same amount that was approved in our preliminary assessment schedule.
Resolution fixing the amounts to be assessed against private property for the Coral Ridge Avenue Phase 2 Improvements Project, introduced for adoption by Councilmember Foster, seconded by.
Second.
Seconded by Gross. Discussion? Roll call.
Gross. Gill. Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Resolution is approved, all ayes. Item 11, I consider a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented or amended.
Move to approve the consent calendar, items A through U inclusive.
Second.
Moved by Gill, seconded by Dodds. Discussion? Roll call.
Gill.
Aye.
Dodds.
Aye.
Goodrich.
Aye.
Foster.
Aye.
Gross.
Consent calendar is approved, all ayes. City Administrator report.
Yeah, I would just like to congratulate the Johnson County and Washington County United Way for reaching 100 years. They do great things for our community, and they support over 30 agencies, social service agencies in our community, and a lot of which don't have their own fundraising arm, and so United Way does that for them. And it's a real testament to our community and our region that the United Way has been here for over 100 years now, and continuing to be very strong. So it encouraged people to think about how they can support United Way, and congratulate the staff and all the people involved that have got it to this point. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Mayor's report. I don't have much tonight either. I'll just mention that today I was in Des Moines. The Iowa League of Cities Executive Board had a day on the Hill at the state capitol where we met not so much with legislators, but more with some of the key elected officials, the Secretary of State, the state auditor, the commissioner and head of the DNR, and then finished today with Governor Reynolds and Lieutenant Governor Gregg. Good discussion with all those individuals. One thing that stands out that makes me appreciative and proud that we have a great staff in Coralville, and that's the importance that we heard today on the upcoming census and how much that means to the city, any city, but especially ours, where it was said today that about for every person counted, it equates to about $1,700 in revenue per year. So if you miss people, you're really missing on a lot of revenue. And Ellen Hobble, our Assistant City Administrator, is part of the State Leadership Committee that's working on this across the state. And she was mentioned today as being an important member of the committee. So thanks, Ellen, and keep up the good work. City Attorney's report.
Only thing I have is that I couldn't help but notice that it was appropriate that from the agenda that Lori introduced the funky zebra.
I noticed
resolution.
that. Oh, good.
Kevin?
Okay. Committee and council members report. Tom, you want to start tonight?
I have nothing, thank you.
Oh, that makes it easy. Jill?
Nothing for me either.
Lori?
Evita in concert is at the Coralville Center for Performing Arts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and there's some special deals for students and so on, so take your sweetheart for Valentine's Day. Thanks.
Great idea. Mitch?
Just regarding the census, next Friday, February 21st, is a census job fair at the library. And these are census jobs that pay $21 an hour, so if anyone's looking for extra work or need some work, next Friday, February 21st, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Are open interviews for the U.S. Census Bureau at the Coralville Library. That's all I've got, Mayor.
Hey, thank you. Megan?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of quick things. I kind of piggybacking off of what Kelly said, I wanted to congratulate United Way for hosting probably one of the most fun events I have ever been to. Last weekend, their Cheers to 100 Years celebration. It was so fun. They had rooms that were themed as different decades, and I believe did Rex contribute some of the items to the Rex Brandstatter?
50s room. Yep.
To the 50s room, and there was a lot of really interesting Coralville artifacts in the 50s room. And so that was just a really fun event. Thank you to everybody who helped make that event a success. And then I also wanted to mention that Thursday, February 20th, will be the 23rd DVIP Super Bowl. That takes place from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. That'll be at the Coralville Marriott. So I would encourage everybody to attend. That's a really fantastic event, and I'm so happy that we are hosting it here in Coralville. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Megan. Anything else anybody has? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Gil, seconded by, is that you, Lori?
Yep.
Yep, seconded by Lori. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Thank you.